Welcome to thisis50.com, the Winner Circle. I'm your host, June Archer. My guest today was an original cast member of Love and Hip Hop Hollywood, widely known for her relationship from a famous rapper, but also known for being the daughter of Grammy Award-winning multi-platinum super producer, the man who created a sound that spanned generations, Teddy Riley. After joining Marriage Boot Camp, recently it seems that this young lady has a new lease on life, ready to conquer the world. She's a brand ambassador. She's a model. But most importantly, she is a mom that works. Please welcome to the show, Nia Riley. Nia, welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing in this
I'm
COVID
great.
situation?
I'm
You're at
great.
home. How are you making out?
I like being home.
Oh, so you just a
So
homebody. You
it's
good.
working for me. I'm actually in Chicago. I live in LA, but I'm in Chicago. I've been here pretty much since it started, I think. But I'm cool. I'm enjoying myself. Can't do too much.
No, we got to really just mental health and just making sure that we cultivate relationships that we've had, right? And
Yeah.
just building
Yeah.
upon that. You recently wrapped up Marriage Boot Camp, the hip hop edition. What was your biggest revelation for yourself coming out of that situation?
I learned a lot for myself or about myself, not even just from like speaking about things that happened with me, but hearing everybody else's story and seeing their situations and relationships. I learned a lot about myself, and I think that's probably why that was the last time I did anything on TV. I needed that break to for definitely for mental health purposes. It was a lot. TV is a lot. It brings a lot out of you, and there's a lot you want to keep in. Like it was definitely stressful.
Going through that experience, Nia, how important do you feel it
With
is for couples to have some kind of counseling, whether before they get married, 5 years in, 10 years in? How important do you think that is for people to kind of get that adjustment? Because I know for my wife and I, like 5 years in, people were like, "Yo, you should go to counseling." Like, I mean, not going on. Like, go and just dig and kind of see what can come out to make things stronger. But for
yeah,
you, you've gone through it. How important is it for those who are like,
I
"Now I don't
think
need
it's.
that."
I didn't realize how important it was. But I did realize that there's certain things when you're in a relationship your spouse can't really bring out of you. Sometimes it does take a stranger, and it's okay to talk to a therapist. There's nothing wrong with it. I feel like a lot of black men think that, or black people in general think it's something wrong with going to therapy. And starting that process in my life, with that being the first time I ever received any form of therapy, um, that was probably one of the best decisions I ever made. Even now, when people ask me about Marriage Boot Camp, it was stressful, but that was probably like the best thing I've ever done. It was actually fun. I know I looked like stressed out and like I was crying every day, but I
Right.
really enjoyed the experience. I learned about myself. I learned more about him in that at that time. Um, and I think I grew more as well, like as a woman and dealing with relationships. I haven't been in a relationship since. I'm definitely taking my time. Um, but I loved it. I know when I say that, people are like, "How did you love that?" I was screaming every day, crying every day, but I also was drinking every day, so my emotions were a little high. They were real
Right.
emotions, but they was really coming out.
Now, no, I love it, and I'm glad that you're being transparent. You are a huge advocate for moms. You have an initiative,
Yes.
Moms Who Work. You're
Yeah.
really adamant and very gang ho about motherhood. Uh, I want to talk about on a previous season. Um, and this is taboo for a lot of women, and I have a hard time with this. I really have a hard time with women being transparent with each other. And I commend you. You talked about a situation when you had a miscarriage, and I feel like
Mhm.
this has been taboo for women for a very long time. And I feel like um, women can help other women if they just share this
Yeah.
experience. I want
Yeah.
you to, in your words, kind of just share how important it is to be transparent. One, about the miscarriage thing. Two,
Mhm.
about being in relationships that are toxic or even good relationships so that we know what those things are?
Yeah. I feel like it's really important speaking about, just like you said, being transparent in situations like that. I did have a miscarriage. Um, I don't know. It's still hard to talk about sometimes, but I do realize how important it is because for women, we start to feel like it's us. There's something wrong with us.
Right, right,
And I think it's also important that whoever you were in that situation with, you know, they're understanding, they ask questions. It might seem annoying or like we're not ready, but that's really what we want. And it's very important to talk about it because it builds up. And I realized for me, it definitely, it built up. So my situation being on marriage boot camp and speaking about it, I think I was so like, this is my chance. This is my opportunity to talk about it because you never asked me how I felt. Like it'll drive you crazy. It's very, very important to talk about it, even though it's, I think we all will. I felt like something was wrong with me. I felt like I did something wrong. Um, and to a certain extent, it was kind of like, I felt like I put myself in situations to where I was stressed out and I didn't have to be. And that it was the cause of my situation. But, you know, I learned to deal with it by talking about it and realizing that it wasn't the right time. It wasn't the right time, it wasn't the right relationship. And I honestly, now I thank God that I didn't have to go through that with that person because it could have turned into something way, way different. Especially like you say, being in this toxic relationship. Everybody knows it's not a secret. I'm not bashing anybody. Um, I went through a lot in that relationship and for a very long time. People don't realize that I've known him since I was 17, and it was just like we were on mostly after I had my daughter. We got back together, so it was like I was an adult because I had a kid, and then I'm a woman. I grew up a little faster mentally, and he's
right.
still like in his childish ways, and I'm still learning how to deal with it. And it was a lot. It was a whole lot. It really was. But it is really important to talk to somebody if it's a friend in that situation because I was so secluded. I didn't leave the house. I barely spoke to my friends. I made plans, didn't go anywhere. And that was also because I wasn't allowed to. I really wasn't allowed to do anything.
Mm.
And once I finally got out of that situation, like I did not realize how miserable I was. Like just going outside, hanging around my friends all night till 3 o'clock in the morning, like this is what I've been missing. It was all right. I had my daughter. I had her at like 24, I think, 23, 24. I feel like I'd been in relationships all my 20s. So
Right.
once I was with her dad, then I was back with my ex. And then after I left him and that was over, I was like, what have I been doing? I haven't been enjoying my life at all. So leaving that, I think from then to even now, this is probably the happiest I have ever been. And I realized that if I would have spoke to people about my situation a long time ago, I probably wouldn't have been in that situation for so long.
Yeah, and I think that's
Because
important.
I think it's a pride thing. So it's like I'm
Right,
telling you all this that's going on,
right.
and then I go back and you looking at me like, really? You just told me this, this, and this. I had nobody to hold me accountable for going back and dealing with the BS I was dealing with. So that is my main reason for feeling like it's very. And when you're in relationships like that, it's important to talk to people about what you're going through because they're gonna tell you what's wrong with that situation. And even if you believe it or stay or not, in the back of your head, like it's always a pride thing. We all have pride issues. And for me, if I would have talked about it more, there's no way I would have lasted in that situation as long as I did.
And I think that's important because sharing that stuff, being as transparent as you possibly can, because you don't want to put so much out there that, in the event that you're going through just a rough patch, that you tell your homegirl or your homeboy, and
Right.
then you end up taking that and throw it in your face without being subjective. And all right, cool. Like you're just going through something. You guys just talk about it. But I feel like Nia, that piece of, hey, I've been in this kind of relationship, and you might want to steer clear of that, or the miscarriage thing is. I think it's super important. I just want to share this one thing for people who are watching and listening. Sometimes the miscarriage piece is maybe that's just God's way, just saying, listen, something just isn't right. Like we know He is the Almighty, He's the perfect, right? But hey, something just didn't happen right. This ain't come together the way I want it. I'm going to give you what you are deserving of, but I wanted to start from scratch.
Right.
I think if women just share that piece, and then we go through it too. I felt the same thing, but just that pride and
With
ego.
the whole starting over type, yeah.
Yeah.
That
So if you don't feel
that
it's
plays a
all
big
about you.
part.
People work
Huh?
for the lack of a better word. People work hard to create, right? So it's when you do lose it, it's tough, So
Yeah.
Moms who work, why did you start that?
I'm still in the process of getting it together exactly how I want it to be, but I love moms. Like I love seeing good mothers that are there for their kids, single moms especially because obviously I'm a single mother. But I felt like people put this whole perception out that moms can't do this and you can't model and you can't show your ass and you can't do this and you shouldn't say that, and it's like that's not. So because I'm a mom, my life is just completely over, and I have to be a loser and be over here raising my kids. So I'm trying to change that perception, kind of. So I'm still I'm working on a lot of the content that'll be coming out really soon, but it's something I really really love, and mainly and it's for helping single moms that are struggling as well. I realize being on social media, I get a lot of DMs from single moms. I think people know that's kind of like my weakness, so they use it. I feel like they lie sometimes, but they'll ask for money and do things like that. And I've helped a few people, but I've actually bought certain things that they need. Like I'm not really interested in the money like that, but
Right.
I'll buy things. A lot of women ask for like blankets and coats and diapers, stuff like that. And I'm always willing to help with stuff like that. And that's really what I want to build that around, because I know like it could have been me. Like I could have been DMing people asking for help. So you just never know the position you can be put in, especially as a single mother.
Now you grew up with a famous dad, somebody that we love. For you, going through what you've gone through, it seems like you've been prepped for this. You've seen the ups and downs of your dad's success. What is the best piece of
Yeah.
advice that you could give someone who is looking to just where they are right now? They're not even a celebrity or brand ambassador or art like or artist. Like the best piece of advice, because people are hurting right now, need it. Especially with this COVID situation and people can't go anywhere, people losing their jobs. What's the best piece of advice based on your journey and where you've come from and what you've gone through that you could give to someone who really needs that word of encouragement today?
I feel like I get through everything by praying. I don't know what else to do. You know what I mean? And for me, that's what gets me through a lot of things. Praying, and I write a lot. I write down things I'm going through, where I'm trying to go in certain situations, and I try and keep it at the forefront of my mind. And a lot of things I try to accomplish, I feel like I give up sometimes, but it's always there, and it's always like my main focus and my main goal. So I think try not to be discouraged.
Hmm.
And that was a big obstacle for me for a very long time. And I had to pray about that, because it was so easy for me to be discouraged and be like, I can't do it. I'm not doing it. It's taking too long. Like, because I was that person, like, okay, this is what I want to do. And if it doesn't work instantly, I'm not doing it. And I'm going to let it go. And I had to realize, like, that's not healthy, because it's things I was passionate about, but I felt like it's not working. So I'm just not going to do it. And it just doesn't work like that at all. You have to keep pushing and keep going for it. If it's something that you really genuinely want, and you have to pray. You got to pray about a lot of things to get through it, to get there, and it'll work out. It always does. It always has for me.
I want to talk about something that's really bothered me over the past 2 years. Um, I've heard it from friends like Little Mo. I've heard it from friends like Colette V. Smith, the first NFL female coach in in the league, and other women. I want to talk about the village concept if I can right now. And I feel like the village has failed a lot of our women, especially women of color. In one of the episodes, you talk about inappropriate behavior that was done to you as a young woman. And regardless of what people say about this Me Too movement, I understand it, right? But I feel like we have to take a step back. Like there are people in our families who are supposed to protect our young black girls and our young black boys, black and brown. But it's like women don't come out when these things happen. One, the fear of, I think you're lying. I had one guest that said, well, my mom said we should be lucky that we even have a man in the house, all while he was doing inappropriate things to her, right? How can our young black and brown girls find their voice to the point where we believe what they're saying so we can protect them from predators?
What do you mean as far as like speaking up on it?
Speaking up on it.
I don't even know if I can personally give advice on that because I hadn't. It was like it was forced out of me almost. You know what I mean? Like I got to a breaking point, 20 years later, and I felt like I had to speak about it because it was like an underlying issue to my issues. So I was like, I don't know what's wrong with me. Maybe I'm suppressing it because of these things that happened growing up. So that's why it was almost forced out of me. But definitely that comes from feeling like no one's going to believe us. And as well as I think that coincides also with domestic abuse. We don't like speaking on that as well because it's not even I can say for me personally speaking on that because I've tried and it's always like you put yourself in that situation or why did you let it happen? And I think that hearing somebody, I've had that said to me, why did you let that happen? Why did you let him do that to you? And it's like, I didn't let anything happen to me.
Right.
Like it wasn't something that I necessarily allowed, but it did happen. And it's hard to speak on it. It really, really is. And it all it is you being ready. I don't even know what to say for someone to be ready to actually speak on those things for a female because it's so hard and everyone's situation is so different. You don't know the real reason as to why they don't want to say anything. It could be because of who it is or afraid of what they're going to say. And then it's our community. They make us feel like, you can't call the cops.
Right.
You can't tell anybody of authority. So feeling like that is like, say something for what? Because nothing's going to happen anyway. So, and I've been in situations and I've tried to speak about, my domestic violence situation. And I've had grown men like, okay, you talking too much now. And I'm just like,
wow.
Now I'm talking too much.
Right.
And I think you can tell, like, I don't really do interviews. I don't tell my business other than what's put on TV. Like, I'm not like that. I'm still pretty private. So for me to get to that situation where I felt like I could open up and I was in a safe environment and to feel like, all right, shut up. Now you're talking too much. Like, about something that meant a lot to me to get off my chest. It's like, damn, like, that's why we don't speak on it. And it just takes forever. Or we never speak on it and it becomes too late.
Well, I hope that we could continue dialogue that will help not only our young women, but our young men to kind of understand what they're doing and just do better and make sure that the village concept operates the way it was supposed to, just taking care of our own. I want to commend you for just being transparent today and sharing a little bit of your story. What's next for Moms Who Work, and what do you have that we can support in the next upcoming weeks and months as we get out? I'm going to speak it into existence when we get out of this COVID quarantine situation.
Right. I'm ready. I think I'm ready to get out of it now. I was okay at first. I mean, I like being home in general, but I'm like, okay, I could go to some events. I'm ready for that. But yeah, my Moms Who Work situation, that is, I don't want to say too much about it, but it is obviously based around single mothers. And it's like work, like, we're still sexy moms, and there's nothing wrong with that. And we can
No
be
doubt.
ourselves. Right. And I have a few things I'm working on beauty wise. I'm actually working on music.
That's what I'm
And
talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
yes, I'm actually really excited about that. Mainly, probably summertime. I'll try and have that ready for everybody. I think I'm most excited about that. And that's it for right now. I have a new team that I'm working with, so I know we have a lot of things that we're trying to do, but it's hard now, trying to figure everything out. Everybody's closed. Nobody knows when they're going to be working again, so I'm figuring it out. But the few things I do have lined up, I'm extremely excited about.
Now, who I keep going back to the point that Teddy Riley is your dad. Who who were your influences? Because he worked with everybody from SWV to Michael Jackson. It doesn't get any better than that. Who were your influences that inspired you to want to do music?
I think I can't say specifically who, but I remember being younger and I would go like to the studio with my mom, and we would be there. And um, I had my cousin at the time. We would low key be writing songs, and I can't say exactly who influenced me, but just being in the environment was like so fun for me. And I remember one time I think I had a piece of paper or something in my pocket. I never told my dad I wanted to do music or anything, and I like stuffed it back in my pocket really quick. He was like, "What is that?" I was like, "Nothing." But it was a piece of paper that me and my cousin had started writing songs on. I want to say I was about like 10 or something. But I remember that day because I stayed at the studio the whole night because Stevie Wonder was there. And it
You
was
know what I'm
so
saying?
fun. And that
You
was
know what I'm saying?
definitely inspirational to me. Yeah. It was really fun. I think his wife at the time was there. We played a prank on him. I was like, I feel bad playing a prank on him, but okay. I'll never ever forget that. So being in that environment, especially, I mean, it's Stevie Wonder. Come on, that was, yeah,
Yeah,
that's definitely pretty.
that's classic.
And I've been around a few people, even friends that I have now.
Right.
Like, it's pretty like it's inspiring. It makes you want to be creative like that. I had left that alone for a very long time. I became a drinker and a smoker, and now I'm not anymore a smoker. I still drink. I've been doing a lot of that in quarantine, but
And you know that.
but I'm inspired by a lot of my peers, honestly, and still my dad, of course. You see what he's doing now, so and I love it. I think people always tell me your dad is such a legend, and he absolutely is. As a person and as an entertainer, he's amazing.
So we can expect a record with Nia Riley, produced by Teddy Riley.
I don't know. Maybe it might be coming. I don't know.
Listen.
Maybe.
You heard it here. It's a possibility. You know what I mean?
It's a possibility.
It's a possibility.
Yeah.
Listen, if you have a need, please hit Nia up. I'm talking about a real need or just a word of encouragement. Listen, she's doing her thing. Moms Who Work. Nia, thank you so much for just locking in a few minutes during this time. We appreciate you. Where can people follow you, and where can they get information on Moms Who Work?
Say that again.
Where can they get information on your Moms Who Work, and where can they find you online?
Well, the Moms Who Work Instagram is Moms Who, but it's WERK, like work. And then my Instagram, my personal Instagram, is just Nia Riley, NIARILEY. And any updates on Moms Who Work, it'll be on that page or on my personal page.
There it is.
Beauty stuff as well.
Listen, like her, support her, get some beauty stuff. Look out for the album. It's gonna be some of it's gonna be produced by Riley. Check out.
No, I'm gonna just give y'all takes and we'll see where it goes from there. I don't know about a full album yet.
That's what I'm talking about. Nia, thank you for locking in with us. We appreciate you. This is June Archer, the Winner Circle here on thisis50.com. Thank y'all for tuning in.
Thank you. Have a good one.